Hi guys, it's Rachel from SaveMoneyCutCarbon, and today I am here with Claire, who forms up the head of the Thetford River Group. So thank you so much for meeting us today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. So before we kick into things, would you be able to just introduce our subscribers to yourself and a bit about what the Thetford River Group do?
Well, basically it's all about the river and the health and the habitat that it is. So apart from physically removing tons of litter each year that ordinary people, local people, don't take home with them, we also look at the water quality. We do river fly monitoring, where we sample the number of particular kinds of invertebrates, of creatures that will grow into becoming mayflies, things like that, and that tells us the health of the water quality. We've got a sewage treatment works that pumps out into the local river, so we keep an eye on what's coming out of that, and we try and educate the public and hopefully send back our data to Water Resources East. We work closely with the Environment Agency, and we help to work out how the over-abstraction, which is us asking for too much water out of our taps, and to work on things like that, and this is what we do.
No, that's fantastic. And one thing that I find really amazing is that obviously this is not a paid organisation. Everyone here is a volunteer, so everyone here is giving up their personal time, obviously, to be part of this group. So in regards to volunteering, what is it that makes you and the other volunteers want to actively do this? Because obviously some people may think, why would I want to take time out of my schedule to protect our rivers? So
you could really interview them, they'll tell you.
Oh my goodness.
It's such a beautiful environment. You've got the dragonflies, you've got the kingfishers accompanying you, beautiful, lovely inland sheltered waterways. We pick all our litter up from canoes, and we've got a long stretch. We manage the area between the town of Thetford and Santon Downham, and sometimes we even go on as far as Brandon. And it is just the most beautiful, lovely way to try and change the planet.
No, that's fantastic. And these guys, they do look very happy because the boats have already been down here, so these guys have got some nice fresh water right now. So one thing obviously I'm interested to hear about as well is, what is the impact of water pollution? What impact does it have on our wildlife and our communities? Because I think it can be very easy for some people to almost disregard where they're putting their rubbish, but the reality is there are some huge impacts.
There are huge impacts. I think we all know about the term microplastics, which is anything under 5 millimetres. It isn't just the size of the piece of plastic that might be your drinking bottle water. It's also things coming out of your washing machine, 700,000 little fibres of plastic on each cycle of the washing machine. And they come directly into the river. They are mitigated slightly by the sewage treatment plant, but not as much as we'd all like. And a lot of it goes straight back onto the land as landfill. It is not regulated at the moment, it's not even measurable. Then we've got all the chemicals that come from the abrasion and the disintegration, so that these bigger plastic particles then become nanoplastic particles, which are pretty small. And then, if you're not really careful, they all wash down into the marine environment. But even closer to home, we've got the chemicals that you are putting in your machine or in your toilet. It has to all be treated, and it's a biological process at the moment in the sewage treatment plants. So there's some way to go technologically. And then there's all the physical stuff, like people who leave the fishing lines in the river. We had a swan. It wasn't us, it was our colleagues at the BTO, the British...
Oh, yes.
Whatever it is.
Ornithology Trust.
Ornithology. They found a swan literally wrapped round with fishing wire with fishing hooks on them that someone had just left in the river.
That's disgusting.
We all know that angling is really becoming a great sport. And something that all the family can enjoy, but you've got to do it responsibly. You can't just leave this litter. The same with bread. Now a lot of people, I'm sure, have been with their nan, they've been feeding their bread as kids. Bread is not a food for ducks or any aquatic animal whatsoever. The only people that really like the bread are the rats. We've got a massive rat problem. More and more people, particularly over lockdown, leaving the bread in the bag. I know Thetford swans are smart, but they're not that smart. They can't open the plastic. We've got something just here today. We've noticed that someone just dumped some of their coleslaw with the mayonnaise still in the sachet.
My goodness, that is absolutely shocking, isn't it? And I mean, just going through this, I'm really gauging a feel for just how much, you know, rubbish is in there at the moment and the absolute impact that it's having on our wildlife. So obviously you've been doing this for quite a while. So over the last year, or you know, whatever time frame you have info for, how much rubbish would you say you've actually retrieved out of the Thetford rivers in the areas that you cover?
Well, many tons really, and sometimes it's just a one-off event. So last month when it was a heavy rainfall, we got 3 kilograms of masks and gloves out of one storm drain that had become blocked. 3 kilograms. You know how light one little mask is?
Yeah.
Imagine how many masks that was.
Wow.
And then we had the more poignant thing where we're looking just downstream there. There was a moorhen that had made its nest out of shredded plastic bags.
My goodness.
So think about the ingestion and all that. The case caddis, which is really, really about the size of your thumb, which builds its own little hard case around its soft shell body. There, it had been built with plastic, with bits of plastic into its own.
That is heartbreaking, isn't it? That is
It is,
absolutely
and it's,
devastating.
even if you don't care about them, you should think about yourselves, because all those chemicals and the bits of plastic, they're not being screened out at the moment, not effectively, not 100%. That, you know, if we've got to do something. They're not just going to disappear. There is no plastic fairy. We've all got to use less and to really try and just make that difference, because every little thing makes a huge difference.
No, absolutely. And I think that that's one thing that I would literally like to ask you, obviously, for our subscribers, is if you could give any message, obviously, to the members of the public out there, what would you tell them in regards to obviously water pollution? What can they do to obviously help make things better?
Well, I do think your website's got lots of really good ideas, and I'm not just saying that. Lots of really practical things. I think when it comes to kids and litter and things like that, I do really understand that sometimes it looks like it's more expensive at the beginning. So if you want to have a paper bag instead of a plastic bag for sandwiches and stuff, it is more expensive. But longer term, if you get into your head about recycling, but not necessarily even starting off with plastic. So the investment in a drinks bottle cuts out every single bottle that you're going to then not buy. Similarly, you know, think about fabric softener. It's got some really gnarly little chemicals in it, and you don't need fabric softener. You can use vinegar, similar products like that, and that's a whole load of chemicals that aren't going to come in the river, just like that. And just take one little thing each month. Go at it slowly. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just take one tiny step.
No, that's really good. And of course, you guys who are familiar with our brand, you can pop on to www.SaveMoneyCutCarbon.com and have a look at our sustainable living range, where we do those very simple, sustainable swaps to really help you with making that transition into having a more eco lifestyle. So thank you so much for having a chat with me today. So I think we're going to wind up here and have a look what the guys in the boats have managed to pick out of the river. So in the last few minutes in which I've been having a chat with Claire about the organisation and what they do, the volunteers have been actively out in the boats, and to be fair, they've been covering such a small area while we've obviously been chatting, and already you can see that this is the vast amount of rubbish that they have pulled out of the river already, and this was literally in a matter of minutes. So as you can see, we have children's toys, we have glass bottles, some of which are broken, plastics, lovely pair of pants, food wrappers. You know, it's absolutely insane to think that this was from a 5-minute gap in the smallest area of river, and we have obviously rivers all over our country, obviously with pollution like this, and this is what's really impacting our wildlife and having those devastating effects. So groups such as the Thetford River Group, who are actively taking their time to make these positive changes, really do help to protect our planet. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video today, and I hope that it has inspired you to obviously help make more eco choices in your life. So until we catch up next time, take care. Bye.